Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so we talked about Russell Westbrook, the contract. I want to talk about Russell Westbrook, the player, because a lot of conversation is being had about Russell. One being that Magic Johnson wants to bring him back, and for me, it's in regards to that conversation, I want to know why that is. I think I think why will help me understand how to view the opinion, because there's a lot of different reasons why someone would want to keep or would advise Genie to keep Russell Westbrook. Is he saying keep Russell Westbrook the contract? Is he saying keep Russell Westbrook the player based on some things that he sees X's and O's wise and some potential he sees in building the team? Is he saying keep Russell Westbrook the contract because like I said in the video I made, because we refuse to get fleeced and we know that people are going to try to fleece us based on our circumstances and the value of the contract and the player who struggled, etc. Maybe we should just hold on to it and accept the fact that we can get $47 million out of it at the end of the year and just have one more season with him anyway, because we know we're not going to be any good regardless. And if that's the advice he's giving her, it makes a lot of sense, right? So it depends on why Magic wants to advise Genie to keep Russell. Is it over LeBron James? Is it a situation like Shannon said where he's going to put the ball in Russell's hands and have him run the offense? I think for me, when I look at the positives that Russell Westbrook is going to bring to the team today, the one consistent that I definitely understood, and this is something that is not going to be talked about, but this is a fact. Your interior scoring is going to be top notch because he's on your team. You're going to turn the ball over. You're going to have your issues. You're going to have bricking shots. You're going to have all this, that, and the third. But what you have is the equivalent of an interior scoring center from a scoring perspective. So I look at a team like Miami. You see the struggles that they had in these games that they've had where they didn't have nobody who was willing to score, where they had some issues trying to get into the paint and get someone to pry into the teeth of that Celtic defense. That's what Russell Westbrook can do for you today. You put the ball in his hands, you let him drive at the basket. What he's able to do is draw fouls. And even though he's going to miss a lot of layups based on what we saw last year, what he also does is make up for it by pulling the ball off the rim. Your rebounding increases. And because of it, you have a scoring threat and someone that's going to continue to put pressure on the rims, which is something that we talk about a lot, that a lot of teams in this league, they have trouble with, especially off of their bench. You know, teams that don't have players that have first steps and don't have players that have a lot of athleticism. Russell Westbrook will help them put that pressure on the rim that they're lacking, help them have that energy and that go-to scoring mentality to where he's going to brick a lot of shots, but his mentality is going to be attack, attack, attack. It ain't going to be a situation where guys are bashful while he's on the floor, because he's going to bring forth that energy that's going to be infectious around him. If he's playing well, he's also going to do a lot of good things for you. But even if he's at his absolute worst, what he always did for the Lakers would put pressure on the rim. Our interior scoring was always good every single night. So that's what he does. That's exactly what he does. So if Magic Johnson is saying, yo, I see him as a bench piece that can always give us interior scoring. I see him as a bench piece that can always give us energy. We don't know what kind of talent we're going to have on our team next year. We know for a fact that at least with this piece, we're going to have energy and a durable player at all times because he doesn't get hurt, one of the Iron Men in the league. So there are things about Russell Westbrook, the player, even after the struggles, that you can say, okay, well, I can pencil him in and manage him properly. And if I do that, I can get something good out of him. You just got to have a coach that knows how to use that player, and he's going to have to accept his new role because he's going to be used sparingly. But because of what it is he can do, he still can hold value to those who understand how to use him. So that's what the player can do. That's maybe along the lines of what Magic Johnson is selling. Like, we can still use that piece because he has these things. And it's the truth, man. I'm telling you, your interior scoring, your entire team is going to be better just because he's there. Literally. You know, all those teams that cannot score in the paint, all these teams that have a bunch of jump shooters that don't want to move, Russell will provide a team's worth of interior pressure. That's what he does. So that needs to be understood, man, because it's too much talk about, oh, Russell's a horrible player, we can't use him. No. There are strengths there, extreme strengths at that. And so that needs to be understood. The problem with him is everything we saw last year, literally all of it, with the turnovers, the accountability issues, all of it was bad to a degree. And then you also have to understand, of course, the $47 million that you have to pay him this year, which is not at all what he's going to provide. And if you have building issues like the Lakers do, you need that cap to represent other players, which is the biggest problem with keeping him this year for the Lakers. It's not about whether or not you can use him. It's not about you all that pressure you can put on the rim. It's not about any of that. It's about you, the Lakers, needing players. And you can't have nobody at $47 million, not even for 1 year, because you need that this year to compete for whatever it is that you're going to be aiming for, whether it be with LeBron or not. You need that to represent players, not just one guy who's struggled mightily. So this is a situation where it's irresponsible to keep him at that price, unless someone is just fleecing us to no end, to which we end up spending more trying to get rid of him. So that's what it's about. If it costs more to keep him, then you're making a mistake. But otherwise, getting rid of him should be the move. So I don't know. I think at the end of the day, when you talk about Magic Johnson, he's one of the great basketball minds. But he also kind of has shown us that he moves with his heart. And I think most people would agree that he saw a lot of himself in Lonzo Ball. The LA hometown thing was a big deal. The LeVar Ball part of it was appealing, I think, to a degree to the Lakers. There was a lot of off the court heart things that a lot of us were surrounding, kind of hovering around in regards to bringing in that particular pick. And I think that was ultimately the biggest mistake that he's made as a Laker exec or what have you. So it's not that I don't trust his basketball acumen. It's just whether or not he's going to choose basketball. Just like I say with Bron, are you guys going to choose basketball? Are you going to choose your heart? Are you going to choose your friends? Are you going to choose ethics of some sort that's not going to cater to us having the best matchups on the floor? So that's really my thing. Can we get the best possible team so that we can compete? That's all. And if we have that, nobody's going to complain. So if Russell can be a part of that, if you can maneuver it in such a way you have some perfect matchup, perfect setup where he can be a part of it, I don't have a problem with that. My request is that you just go through the process of letting that contract go and then bringing the player back at the second half of the season. That's all I'm saying. Don't keep him at that price, man. No. Get that contract out of here. Bring back whatever contracts we're going to get, if it makes sense to do so that we can have some pieces from there. We can trade for more stuff that's going to be valuable to us, because we know what we're getting for him is not going to be very good. But at least that we can get that contract out of here so it won't be representing one player, and then we can figure out what to do with the rest of those pieces from there. And my concern is that we're bringing in a John Wall or an Evan Fournier, as to which we're going to have a contract that's almost as bad as Russell Westbrook's and represents even more years, which is why it does ultimately make sense to prepare to keep Russell for a season. Because if that's the case, you end up with contracts even worse. You got even bigger problems, and you still can't fix your situation. So at the very least, we know the worst option is not keeping him and letting that $47 million expire, as to which we can use for free agents the following year. That's not our worst option. It really ain't. When you really consider it, that's not our worst option. Yes, is he going to have his struggles next year? Yes. Are we winning the championship next year? Nobody expects to. No matter how many wins or losses we get, we don't think we're holding the trophy. So if we assume we're not holding the trophy, it really doesn't matter how we get to the finish line. We just need to make sure we get there. That's it. And that's exactly how I'm approaching it. So this is going to be a down season, whether he's a part of it or not. And most of us need to accept that right away. BDF 44, thank you all for watching. I'm out.